was asked to share today a bit of my faith story and how my background has shaped my personal views of stewardship. I grew up in a nice little Lutheran congregation on the shores of Lake Erie called Advent Lutheran in Mentor, Ohio. While my time at Advent laid the foundation that encouraged me to continue regular church attendance during the college years when so many fade away, it was my time at Lutheran campus ministry at Ohio State that really set the course for my adult faith habits. I can still picture Pastor Jesse David Hill giving an Ash Wednesday sermon where he talked about the sacrificial practice of Lenz. Rather than give up chocolate or some other kind of food, he held up a wall clock and encouraged us to give up time for Lent. 5 minutes a day to spend with God in scripture or prayer. It was a practice I adopted that Lent, that I continued after that Lent, and try to continue even to this day. Giving time seemed to be a constant theme during my campus ministry years. We learned to give time to devote to study, time to devote to serious conversation and questions with other believers, time to devote to volunteering at the food pantry, time to devote to a spring break of hurricane relief work with Lutheran disaster response. The college students didn't have much income to give, though I'm sure some would have liked to tithe a tenth of their student debt to the church. So we learned giving through other means, and when we graduated and found employment, the spirit of giving through our finances naturally followed. But I'd like to focus for a bit on the fact that this formative ministry in my life was not self-funding. Passing the plate among 40 college students was nowhere near enough to support a full-time pastor, the building, and the programming that took place there. When I was there, the ministry was supported by a combination of funding through the 3 synods in Ohio, plus the national church, contributing to an entity called Ohio Lutheran Campus Ministry, which divided funds among ministries at 6 public universities throughout Ohio. You see, this is the power of being part of the evangelical Lutheran Church in America. Bishop Eaton earlier this year announced 4 emphases for us to consider as part of the ELCA. We are church, we are Lutheran. We are church together, we are church for the sake of the world. I don't think of my congregation as my church. The ELCA is my church. Advent alone couldn't have provided that experience for me and the other students at Ohio State, but through the offerings Advent puts in the plate each week, we are church together, combining with other congregations to support ministries throughout our synods, our country, and around the world. Advent is a leader in supporting the Northeastern Ohio Synod, regularly contributing 10 cents of each dollar received in the offering to our synod. The synod, in turn, contributes 49% of what it receives to the national church. So roughly 5 cents of every dollar you contribute goes to support the church throughout our synod, and another 5 cents goes on to the national church. The word synod comes from the Greek words that mean walking together. Our synod, the Northeastern Ohio Synod, contains 180 congregations from Lorain to Mansfield to Youngstown to Ashtabula. The ELCA, in turn, consists of 65 synods. Our synod supports many local ministries, such as Campus Ministry at Cleveland State and Case, Trinity Seminary in Columbus, Lutheran Outdoor Ministries of Ohio, Lutheran Youth Organization, and synod staff members who assist congregations with the call process and help plant new congregations, or help dwindling congregations renew and refocus on their mission. Our national church directly supports nationwide and global organizations, including Lutheran Disaster Response, Federal Chaplaincy, Young Adults in Global Mission, and ELCA World Hunger, just to name a few. My faith development was greatly nurtured by Lutheran Campus Ministry, which also led me to work with Lutheran Disaster Response, 2 ministries that are outside my congregation, but that are integral parts of my church. So I've been excited to have the opportunity to give back to synod ministries after I graduated. I served on the board of the campus ministry at Cleveland State and Case, where Pastor Joe took his call after Advent. I was elected as the young adult representative to Synod Council 3 years ago, and I've now been elected secretary of our synod. For these positions, I've had the joy of seeing how we can be church for the sake of the world on college campuses and mission communities. These ministries make a radical difference to many people, but are probably not financially self-sustaining. But I've also seen the pain of budget reductions as revenue declines. In fiscal year 2008, the Synod's revenue was almost $2.25 million. The approved budget for next year is just over $1.5 million, or a reduction of about 1/3 in 8 years. Our contribution to Lutheran Campus Ministry has decreased from $70,000 to $15,000 at the time. A Ohio Lutheran Campus Ministry has dissolved as a partnership among the synods, with each synod now supporting its own campus ministries. Northeastern Ohio Synod used to support Pastor Joe as a full-time pastor at Cleveland State, but after his resignation, we now contribute $15,000 to fund an intern through Episcopal Volunteer Corps. In the face of these numbers, I find myself wondering what my church, nationwide, will look like when little Clara is my age. So why do I give to my church? I give because God has called us to be givers, offering back to God what he has first given us. I give because I want my congregation to be a strong and thriving presence of God's love in Mentor and Lake County. I give because my church and its ministries have meant so much to my life, and I want to make sure my church is there to have that same kind of difference for the next generation of leaders. I give to join my brothers and sisters in praising God and proclaiming his word by being the church, the Lutheran Church, together for the sake